This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. November 30th, 9 a.m. Marion County Commission. First, to start off with public comments, there's a member of the public here, I believe, that's ready to speak.
Could we add anything to the agenda before we get started?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to add an executive session, attorney-client privilege, contract negotiation. We can do it any time, and whatever.
Okay.
Probably preferably at the end.
Anybody have any issues with that? Okay, so we'll put it on the agenda. All right, back to public comment.
I need to go over here.
Yeah, please, we can make sure that anybody out there can hear you.
Oh, no.
We all know you, but you gotta state your name so that they know who's speaking.
Mike Beneke. One thing I'd like to see us do is out at the county lake. I think according to Josh Inlow, they're putting in possibly a new pump in line towards the north end. And maybe you're all aware with it. I've talked with Isaac a little bit. It'd be a good time to put some extra camping spots on that north end. And I think some of even maybe the wind farm workers would occupy them spots for an extended period of time. I know they had 2 spots a couple of years ago that were rented for several months at a time. So I'd like to see something done with that if possible. Next item is a few months ago I talked about the old communications trailer and the $60,000 pickup sitting across the street. Now hooked to a new one with $100-some thousand. Why is it exposed to the weather, vandalism, and otherwise? And I think we even paid for a spot for it to be stored. I don't think the south of the jail is a proper place to have it stored. Last but not least, over the last 3 years, I've been contacted more than once about the driving habits of our emergency management director. The fire east of Florence a few months ago involved one of our department heads and their entire family. What I witnessed a couple weeks ago was falling in towards Hillsboro. Excess of 95 miles an hour down 56 highway. Maybe he has that right to run red lights and sirens. And maybe I wasn't just as wrong following him at that speed.
Okay.
But I wanted to know.
Careful, I don't want to get into
what gives him the right.
Personnel.
That's correct.
So I witnessed him 3 times pass
Mike,
an oncoming vehicle.
we gotta make sure we don't one way or the other on personnel. We gotta be careful.
I just witnessed him 3 times with a car getting off on the shoulder with a semi behind him.
It's been addressed. We need to move on.
Sorry, Mike. We just gotta.
That's fine.
We gotta make sure we do that.
I just wanted to make sure you're aware of what really went on the other day. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
With that comment, I'd like to ask Mr. Crowfoot, how's it been addressed?
At the meeting, we talked about it. We haven't done anything.
Well, it hasn't been addressed. It's been.
I was just trying to move on.
He spoke enough on that topic, I think, is what I took
Yeah, that's what
Dave's comment as.
Okay.
And it also says on the agenda under public comment that personnel and legal discussions may not be appropriate at this time. So.
Well, if a person sees something going on out here, what are they supposed to do? Stand out here and wave their hands at us? Not. I mean, you've got to address it somewhere.
Right.
Somehow it has to be addressed. So,
Yeah.
I'd just like to.
I think we need to address it.
Nobody else can do that kind of stuff, so.
Well, then maybe we should take that off of the agenda, if that's the way we're gonna go in the future.
Well, I
I don't think we can do
No.
that. I don't think we can do
That's
that.
not what he's saying.
Well, I think you can. I think you can. I mean, a citizen sees something and would like to be heard. You tell me that we can't come in and talk about that? That's wrong.
Well, I agree with you. The only
Okay.
problem that I have with that is there are some personnel that we're allowed to talk about of people, and then there's some personnel and people we're not allowed to. So,
Well,
But that's the way
yeah,
it's been
and it
passed.
should be straight across the board.
that's right, it should be.
Yeah,
I think
so-
that my only suggestion was just going to be that if perhaps you should ask your legal counsel what the appropriate way is for someone to file a complaint on an employee so that it can be discussed in a properly called executive session, because as you know, you can't discuss personnel matters identifying a specific staff member in open session. So that's, you know, if they submit a letter confidentially or you know, then that gives the board the opportunity to bring it up in a closed session setting, so.
Okay.
I mean, but Brad could probably give you a better idea
Well, we
of
need
an
some way.
appropriate way.
If it's have to fill a form out, that you saw this, we need to be able to see that, and they'll witness and they'll testify. If they'll put that paper up there,
Yeah.
then they can be asked to us, and handed to us, so we can address it.
Right, right. But I would say definitely put that on the Brad's list of how what your procedure should be on those things, yeah.
Okay. Any more public comments?
You want to ask, who wants to go? I think he did.
Okay, well, yeah,
Go
I,
up to the mic.
the mic?
Yeah, we have some people on electronically,
Oh,
so
I see.
that's why we
Okay.
have to sit there.
We got Zoom meetings
State your
too.
name and,
Oh,
state your
great.
name and who you're with.
Okay, well, I'm Claudio Fondes with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I'm the new group enrollment representative for the area. I took over the previous representative, that was Bruce Scholes, that probably most of you knew. And I was just coming here to come and meet everyone, and Tina and Cheryl.
Sherry.
And you guys as well, and just to let you know that I'm here for any help that you guys can need in the future, and either during enrollment, off enrollment, or of course we're going to be looking at your renewals every year, and guess we'll see at the time who all are involved in that process here, and just basically so that you knew who I was, and just I'll leave my card here with Tina, and if anybody ever needs to get a hold of me, I'm available for whatever I can assist you with.
Do you have enough cards you could leave for each commissioner?
I do.
Okay, we good
Yeah.
if we each had one.
Yeah.
Well, I think something that pretty important in your position is to come work with them, but it's also something that insurance has been jumping up and down, so I haven't been jumping down.
I ain't been jumping down.
But it's been going up consistently, and so we set a budget, and we'd all like to stay under that budget, but yet we, you know, there's a point in time that we have looked at other companies because of the cost.
Right.
And so, I think to help us, you need to take a look at us and give us the, you know, give us the straight front at least a month or two early with our people,
Mm-hmm.
so that we don't run it down to the deadline, and we've got to make a decision when we have, if
Right.
we think, well, we have a lot of people that loves our insurance,
Mm-hmm.
but there's always times that sometimes we can't afford
Right.
what we do
Yeah.
put out,
Yeah.
so.
If we had an idea early in the year, like in January, that would be really helpful
Mhm.
of what our rates are going to look like.
Well, one of the things that we can do is be looking at, because you're a self-insured group, right?
Yes.
How many? Yeah, you are. So.
Oh, no.
Oh,
No,
you
no,
are
we're
not.
fully
Okay.
insured. Excuse me, we're fully insured. We're not
Okay, so
self-insured.
you were in the past, and.
No, we've
Never?
not been.
Okay, have you ever considered that, or have?
Well, we've looked at it, yes.
Conversation being brought up?
We've looked at it, not very in depth, but.
Okay. Because, well, and then for the, that's one of the options, you know, to be, because, yeah, insurance is based on, basically in the industry and what the cost of healthcare is. So, Blue Cross and Blue Shield is not it is a private incorporation, or I guess corporation, but it is a members
association, basically, if you will. So every money that comes in through rates or premiums is what needs to be going out to cover for claims. So basically, the more claims we get in, the more money we're going to have to coming in order to pay for those claims. So we're not a company that need or look at a bottom line as far as getting a profit. So we're not a full profit. So everything that comes from your premiums goes to admin expenses, to keep the company going and to pay for the claims. So the more claims we all have, the higher the premiums are going to be. So those are the things we kind of look at and try to motivate people to keep those costs down, as far as looking at lower cost prescriptions, try not to go to the ER every time they have a stomach ache or whatnot. And then as far as looking at costs, different options, one of them would be maybe looking at being a self-insured. Self-insured is basically whatever the money you set aside is what's going to go pay for the claims, and we can work with you and looking at, estimating what we project based on your history that your claims are going to be for the year, and that's the money you budget to cover for your own claims. And if you don't have all those claims, you save that money. So basically, you are your own insurer. So there are some options there to look at, and when we get closer to the time, we can. Unfortunately, when you're not self-insured, all we can do is kind of look at the claims. We cannot look, and that may give you an indication as to where your rate might be going. If you've had a lot of claims in the last year, that might be an indication that your rates are going to be going up. And then we look at 3 years past, or 32 months, and we can't really set our premiums before that period. So we need to wait at least 8 months. After the 8 months of the plan year, that's what we need to consider the last 8 months, or the first 8 months of the plan year before we start setting our rates. So we can't give you an indication of the rates before that. So we're going to look at the 2 prior years plus the 8 months of the current year. Well, just keep that in mind, that's a big plus for us to sort of help keep it going. I mean, we're going to have to do something by a certain deadline. I think our policy runs out this March or April.
We're April 30th is our
April 30th,
yeah,
right.
May 1 is our new
So May
plan.
1st, right. So we can be looking at in December, where your claims are for this plan year, how's it been going, and well, yeah,
It's close.
It is, yeah. So after the end of this month, we can be looking at January where we're at.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Nice meeting you all, and you have my card. So
Thank you.
appreciate the time.
Thank you. Okay. Any other public comments? I don't see anything on the chat box. I feel like with everybody talking, there was plenty of time to open that up, so I'll go ahead and close public comments and let's move on to daily business.
Okay. I don't believe we have the sales tax numbers yet from the Treasury. So the grand total payday figure is $1,339,144.30, and because we haven't posted the checks yet, we couldn't get that pretty little report that shows the payments to Elcon and Western Associates, but I did print off a screenshot such as it is, so you have the amounts.
The handwritten amount.
The handwritten amount. So Elcon had $109.50, and then Western Associates in direct payments have $1,640.38, and then in credit card payments for PPE had $2,060. And that'll be that'll be Spark money.
So, make a motion for direct payments. Or direct? No.
Payments direct to Western Associates is the $1,640.38.
I'll make a motion to approve the $1,640.38. $140.38.
Second.
Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
All those opposed?
Aye.
3-4.
Okay. And then the credit card payments to Western Associates.
That's $2,060. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
All those
Abstain.
abstained? All right, so 3-1-1.
Make a motion to pay Elcon Services $109.50.
Second.
Got a motion by Randy, second by Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
All those abstaining? Aye. 3-1-1.
And then you have your warrant register there, so let me know if you have questions or if you want to look at any invoices.
I have one question on page 27. Get to it here in a little bit. It's way down. Page 21. Okay, down there, recycling and recycle charge. It says recycle charge, $4,357, and that's just to Stutzman's, 20 cents. Okay. How now can I check that and see who's paying for that, Tina? How does it go about dividing the bill out between Hillsborough, Marion, and the process?
This is obviously our disposal fee for all recycling that comes into the transfer station. We would need to request the transfer station's doing their own billing on all of that.
So we would need a balance.
So we're not
balance
doing
sheet
that
for
in
them.
our office.
Okay.
So as far as being able to see what they've billed, we can have Josh provide that.
Like a P&L or
I mean,
balance
we
sheet.
see their daily receipts as far as what they have brought in, but we don't get a breakdown of who's paid what, so.
It'd be kind of good if we followed up on that.
Yeah.
Just to make sure it's getting taken care of.
Well, that's my concern. I mean, we see it, but yet we don't see it.
Right.
And as long as somebody's paying the bill, sometimes somebody don't care. So I think I would like to request somehow some legal tracking at least once a quarter or something to that effect, once a month. I don't, just every other month, I don't care.
Or to do it monthly,
Well,
easier for them to keep track of.
I would think so, maybe, like I said, I don't know. And so, if that could be,
And they gotta take that off the city bill. I mean, I know the city pays for regular trash and recycle, or they just,
I don't believe
No,
they
no.
pay for regular
The regular
trash.
trash is
No.
factored into your property tax.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And, yeah, that's enough on that comment, and that's only on the billing, so
Right.
I guess my other comment would be for later on, maybe commission interest on this, but.
We need a motion on that to have.
No, I just made a note of it, and I'll get with Josh and
Okay.
see what we can arrange as far as providing that for the board.
I know that some of that stuff is provided already, but it gets lost in the weeds, because it's better if it was just specifically for recycling, so.
Yeah, something simple.
And, I think if he could report on us, if he still keeps touch with Fort Riley about receiving any of that.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
we can eliminate that charge altogether if we can get them back on the line.
Are there any other questions?
I didn't have
Okay. Let me get you.
Anybody else? Any questions on the warrants?
Okay. I need to go get that book. I didn't, oh, you have it. I was like, I thought I brought it in here. Okay, good.
I just set it back there out of the way.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. No other questions on any warrants, then, go ahead and set the motion here. Yeah. Motion for grand total payday of $1,339,144.30. Second. Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
We'll have the book and the payroll for you to sign off.
Oh, nice. Oh.
Oh, there, yeah, go to November.
I was like, it's right at the front. Yes.
That other one will be the next.
Is there Sparks?
Yeah, that's on the, it's in the purple book, but I, have that as a separate approval, so.
Show up here.
Could have done that all. That's what's at the very front.
Okay. The Sparks
And the-
reimbursement?
Yeah, it's two. Let me get that number for you.
Of $347,000.
Yes.
Yeah, the Sparks reimbursement for this month. All these things are previously approved. Still following our plan. So reimbursements for this month are $347,093.55. Make a motion to approve. Second by Dave. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, okay. The mask makes it a little hard sometimes.
That's all right, no.
And just a clarification, this is not all we'll have for this month. I mean, we're doing those almost every week.
We gotta
now.
get 'em out.
Yeah, exactly.
Running out of time.
Looks like the transcript status one more time and it gets lighter.
Yep.
I'll probably have it tripped about 4 more times.
Yeah.
All the Sparks ones.
Yeah, that's true too.
I'll put it back here if you want.
Okay, that's fine.
Got enough papers, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Want to do the minutes?
Sure.
Yeah, or it's, I don't mess up your flow here.
Oh, no, it's fine. So I didn't know if you wanted to do anything on the COVID update now, or go ahead and do all the administrative and then do COVID update.
Go for it.
Basically,
COVID
do you have a
update.
preference? Okay.
It's all gonna be done today.
Okay, so the update from Deidre, it was an email which I put on the table for you. I don't know if you want to read any of this out. And then I do have, she sent a chart here. And she was not going to be available to be on, but unless, I mean, if you have a question or you need to contact her, I can text her and try to get her. But let's see. She had provided this Kansas dashboard as an attachment to this email this morning.
That's a very good site to use.
Okay, the Kansas Hospital Association. And do you want me to read any of this so
Yeah.
that people on the electronic meeting
Yeah,
know
yeah,
this? Okay. So Deidre's report is as of 8 o'clock this morning, we have 310 confirmed, up 25 from last week, 138 probable, up 8, 44 active, 2 hospitalizations, 3 deaths. She says from November 8th through the 21st, the 14-day rolling positivity rate was 20.3%, 91 positives out of 448 tested. She says that they sent cases over the weekend to KDHE for investigation, and she does have a comment in here about she had filled out an agreement for COVID-19 vaccinations and that she has received a reference number. KDHE has recommended that the health department not purchase ultra cold storage units, and she says the Hillsborough Hospital may be buying a unit, and they are all communicating about that. Apparently it requires some addition, some very cold
You're right.
storage.
Not even below 0.
It's gotta be cold from what I hear, as far as the Pfizer one.
And
That's-
what was attached was this hospital summary updated on the 27th, and we are in the South Central region, so.
South Central, you can see that up at the top. And then you zoom in.
Sorry.
It should show you that we've got about 7% of beds available in South Central. This is a really good dashboard to keep touch with.
And this is just a print off here, it's not their actual website.
Oh,
so.
okay, yeah, and it's really good here because you can show how our percentage rating is doing within the county, as compared to others, and it shows you just, it takes information from KDHE up there in the upper right,
Which page are you on?
that one there.
Okay.
The lower left is, it just shows how we're maintaining.
And some resources. So anyway, that's what was provided for you this morning. And are we okay to move on to minutes, or did you
Yeah.
have any?
Yep.
Okay. I have the minutes of November 20 and the minutes of November 23rd.
Everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Any questions or concerns with either set of the minutes? I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of November 20 and November 23. Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Yeah, we have the designated agent form that you signed last
Yeah,
week. I
yeah.
had you sign it in the wrong place, so I need you to do that again.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I should have caught it.
So you'll need to sign in where the chairman line there, in the middle. Okay, that's better. Thank you, sorry about that.
So you're still looking at the bottom?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Got a salary change for Tyler Bent, road and bridge gravel, new equipment operator number 1. So it's from 0 to 22.67 a month.
Yep. Okay, that was all the, oh. One other thing on administrative that I didn't have on your list was the last action you took about the closure of the courthouse and county offices to go to appointment only was through today. And so, I guess we need to know how we're moving forward.
Well, since we have the mandate on, my personal opinion is to go ahead and open up.
Dr. Who do the department heads in the courthouse feel?
I really haven't consulted them. I think that, we were just too busy trying to get everything done for payday and everything else, but I think the department heads will go with whatever the commission decides. I mean, we've been, taking care of business however we need to throughout this whole thing, so.
Well, I would agree with Mr. Becker. I think we didn't do enough.
Our shields are still up for everybody, face, you know, I guess for the desk and stuff, yeah. Except for some.
Except we ain't got ours.
Yeah, we've got
I got a little complacent, forgetting about them.
Yeah.
I've got them in the other room.
Yeah.
I can get them put back up for you.
But almost, do we still need to go back to our 6-foot spacing? And we got masks on now, but some people cannot wear them, and so it hasn't released for that. But I'm just asking, is it time to go back to 6-foot spacing?
That's part of the mandate.
Yeah, I think the 6 foot is key.
I mean, I agree, let's open it up, but we also got to do what the mandate says.
Feel one way or the other, David? Okay.
So are you saying that you want the room reconfigured in here so where the commissioners can spread out?
Yeah, where you have the tables up and pretty
Okay.
well the same thing you had.
Okay,
And that's part of the game.
okay.
Okay.
Do we need a
Make
motion?
to,
I'll make a motion that we go ahead and open the courthouse operating under the mandate.
Second.
got a motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, effective date? Will this be tomorrow or right today
Yeah.
after the meeting or?
Tomorrow will be fun.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. That way I can
Everybody
let
still-
everybody know.
Everybody still okay with that amending? Okay.
Okay, that's all I have.
So we have to wait till,
Right,
Block.
for the bid opening, but you can go ahead and take care of Road and Bridge, and Bryce is out there in the hallways, so.
okay. All right. Bryce?
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, we had fuel bids for the area this morning. We had 2 bidders is all. The third one emailed us, said they were gonna bid today. Based on the numbers, there was a pretty substantial difference between the 2. I did call the higher priced one to verify that they did receive, or did price that based on a 50-50 blend. They did. So, like I said, usually they're a lot closer than that. So based on the way these numbers is, EPS was a little bit for all 3 areas.
Bryce's recommendation is EPS for all 3 areas on fuel bids. I will make that a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. 5-0.
Today was the day for the sealed bids for the mower that was hit. I don't know if you've received anything.
I have, but you have the deadline and at 10 o'clock.
Yes, yeah, so.
So we can't do it now.
Yeah, I guess I just want to let you know, so maybe at the end of the meeting, whatever else, you can still look at that. Last week I talked about, that the, pipes, everything was done on the 300 and 3/10 pipe removals for the Department of Agriculture. I did send Tina the specifics of what parts of the roads, the absolute part that need to be closed. So again, it's up to the commission. I assume you have to go through the public hearing and stuff to that effect on closing those roads. But I sent the information to the Department of Ag, and they said they would consider it officially that the case was closed as far as that goes, as long as we continue to officially close those roads. So they were happy with what we did. So also follow up from last week, I did verify and checked all the information. The people that did bid, the NF here in town, that they did that work for the NRCS stream bank stabilization, and it was submitted on time. It went through spam, but we did verify that. This is a printout of their actual bid. When I sent it to the NRCS people, they did catch the fact is that there was an error on the unit price for the seating items. And so I did make the changes on there for the totals. I contacted them on the last sheet. There's actually email confirmation saying that they would do the bid based on those changes. So.
And sorry, I do have this as an agenda item at 10 o'clock
Oh,
for
okay.
this bid review.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
So,
So I guess if you want.
I mean, you can still look at it and talk about it, but it's like you had asked me to put that back on the agenda. So
Right.
this is like the bid opening and review, and
Okay.
you could potentially award as well, since you didn't get any other bids, but
Right.
I
think
did
we
put it on.
Just to be safe, we'll come back at 10 o'clock
Okay.
and we'll just.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to discuss it and everything if you want to, but if you could wait at least till the 10 o'clock time to take any action.
Doesn't NRCS give you a list of contractors to contact on them? They don't.
Nope.
They used to.
Well, like I said, I did talk to a local contractor here that was part of this, and he said there is so much work going on right now that that was his thought as to why nobody wanted it. It's not a big enough project, but I thought there would at least be more interest in that. But He said Wichita's just going nuts right now, he's, you know, and south central Kansas, so.
At least we got a bid.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I guess I'll come back a little bit. I guess unless there's anything else that you guys have for me here.
In relationship to what Kent just said, we've got 3 or 4 contractors in the county that does things like that. Do you send a bid to them?
I didn't send the bid, but I did call them
Okay.
and, you know, asked if they were interested. I said, you know, everybody has the same option. Instead of, I just asked them, if you're interested, let me know,
Yeah.
you can think about it. And like I said, that's what I heard, so. Yeah, I'm trying to recruit as much local as I can because that's.
Don't you think though, going forward, you should just, if you have those lists, just send them out to them rather than calling them? Because sometimes people forget.
Well, I guess I look at that, but with the amount of papers that need to be sent out of here, whether it was about 3 emails to send that stuff out
No.
based on our system.
All the disclosures, I suppose.
Well, that's the whole thing. The plans were 5 to 6 pages apiece.
PDFs get too big and then you gotta
Yep.
break it down.
Yep, yeah. But like I said, I'd sure do that for anybody, but I'm just trying to figure out, I don't wanna waste a lot of time and effort. You send that out to 10 different people and nobody bids it, then.
What's a simple way to do that though, to at least, besides contact them, and that I agree, but like Kent said, somebody forget them. Is there a simple way to have your clerks just, we're taking bids on Springbank project, these 2, send them to, we'll say Mill Creek, excavating, and they can send up north, you know, maybe the Urox or something. I don't know if they got any equipment up there.
One of the, you know, obviously, if anybody's interested, let me know, whatever else. The other thing that the big time contractor, I say that pretty much the state does, is they basically have plan rooms. And what they do is you submit this to a plan room and then anybody can look at it, download the plans, stuff like that. So that gets it more, I say more statewide. Consultants do that too. I did contact the Kansas Contractors Association. They were going to do that too. But that's something that we can look at in the near future, is to get that into a plan room, wherever that may be. That may help getting the word out too.
Closest one I know of is Salina Blue, out of Salina.
Yeah.
It's Salina Blue
So-
plan room, and it'll hit like reconstruction data, it'll hit a bunch of umbrella that gets a bunch of eyes on it.
So I understand the expense of mailing all these, can we not email bid sheets to all the people? And then
What he
they can
said.
print it off themselves, and that's the program that he's talking about?
Well, the
I'm
bid.
talking about even this right here, just email them out to these
Yeah,
people.
the thing is that this was just sent back, but in order to send out basically all the bid forms and all the requirements, it's like a 1/4 inch thick of paperwork that we
But you
scan.
email that.
Right, but my point is, we're only allowed to send 40 meg per email, so if we have to send that out, it may be several different emails.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we could do that. I mean, that's what I'm saying is that, but as far as, you know, printing them out, you know, I basically said down here, said, if somebody comes in, we can run a copy out of it.
It's way easier to do what you suggest. And
Electronically.
put it into a plan room.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna speak from experience. Put it into a plan room, go ahead and send out the paper invite
Yes.
to each one of these and tell them where to find the plans
Yeah.
at the plan room.
And,
That sounds like a good deal.
yeah, and I actually did, I didn't, here's the other thing about email, if you email it directly, is, other than you can get a read receipt or whatever else is, but like this one here got sent to spam, we
Right.
didn't know about it. That I actually faxed this to those construction companies and I received a, you know, confirmation back. So I know that they were sent, because that's how the legal system works, they won't accept emails. Or banks and stuff won't listen to that. But anyway, that's something to look at, but I definitely get it out to more people, and if there's that much competition, then we need to, you know, everybody's vying for work, then some of them don't get the work, maybe they'll travel farther than what they normally would.
And they
so.
may be lined up for work this winter and didn't have time for it or
Yeah.
something, you know, I can understand that too. Just so they have the chance, our locals.
It typically does happen.
Yeah.
Going into winter, you plan for winter to be rough, always.
Yeah.
And so you load up, and then you get bogged down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also been checking on that other chip seal material, and I've been hearing from Corey, said, I don't think we can produce it. Everything that we have produced so far and are going to produce is spoken for all the way through the first part of next year. So it's crazy, the amount of work that's going on out there, so still working on that, but hopefully getting back, but it's, people are real leery about, we don't wanna make any more than what we have to, cause it's like anything
You
else.
talking, Chipsy, you're talking about the rock?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, so, but anyway, so, yeah, like I said, as far as the planning room, stuff like that, we can work on that, so.
What you was wanting was that little heavier white chips.
Yeah.
That's what you was wanting to go with.
I can get the chat out of, southeast Kansas, the chat mines down there. But, being a super fun site down there, you have to go through special requirements in order to do that. You have to basically prevent it from runoff and everything else. And so if we do use that, the county would have to go back and
Get that salt water, or wastewater.
yeah, well, it's a stormwater wastewater permit, it has to be covered and everything else, but it's very, very good material. So, yeah, but anyway, that's just something else to look at. But, you know, a lot of the other good rock is farther east for the chips. Woodbine does have some. And then you go down in Oklahoma, they have good material too, but it's just, so. But anyway, anything else? I guess I'll be back in 15 plus minutes or whatever.
Probably right at 10. We'll
Yeah.
probably have to stop whatever we're doing.
Okay.
And just do it right at 10.
Think of anything else between now and then too, so. All right.
Okay. So, I guess, do you think the exec session that you're looking for, would that take 15 minutes?
Yeah. But Brad's not here.
We'll get Brad on the phone, I suppose. Does that work?
Some way getting in touch with him.
Okay.
He's supposed to be here today, right?
Well, I took for granted he was gonna be here, but
Well-
evidently not.
Plan to attend remotely.
He said he was going to be, when I talked to him last week, he said he was gonna be.
He was gonna attend remotely because it was, we didn't have a lot on our agenda.
We've got quite a bit that we need from him.
I don't know if he's on remotely.
Tina said he may not be because he had some issues in his office.
Yeah, he said that some of his equipment
Right.
was taken, so he doesn't have audio, so he may have to attend by phone. But I don't know what time he's available.
Okay, do you have time to do an exec session? Oh. Okay, let's go ahead and, do you want to make a motion then? All right, we'll put you on speaker here, Brad.
Yeah, I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss, item number 2, consultation or attorney-client privilege, in order to discuss contract negotiation, with the board, Brad and Tina,
Come around to the back door.
pursuant to KSA 75-4319B,
Okay.
until 10:05.
Okay, just make note that everybody realizes bid opening will be pushed back 5 minutes. Is that a set?
Or I can go 10 minutes if you want to do it exactly at 10.
Well, I just want to make sure that.
Well, let's just go 10 minutes
Okay.
and say we'll be back at 10.
Okay.
We need to go back, we can go back later.
I have a second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, we'll be back at 10 o'clock.
Mention Brad.
Yeah.
I didn't catch it.
Oh, Brad and Tina.
Yeah, okay.
Let me get the camera here. Okay, camera's coming up.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. All right. Oh, sorry.
Gonna go with me or him?
Yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. It's 10 o'clock. It's time to review the bids. We'll start with Lion Creek and Cottonwood River Stream Bank stabilizations.
The combined amount for the two projects as it was bid was $83,450. Combining the two projects. Marion County's in-kind work will be hauling the material. We're also going to purchase the modular blocks that are required for one of the locations. We have to do some road work on the location up north. Talking with the NRCS, they didn't see a problem, but one of the guys that they wanted to look at was out next week. But on the surface, they didn't see any problems. They were the actual ones that saw the item unit cost issue. So, like I said on the last page, there's an email confirmation that they would do it at that price. So, just to let everybody know. So, but it is below the engineer's estimate. So.
And it, just for standardization, it does contain a payment performance bond.
Yeah, they're included on the second.
Okay.
There's a bid bond as well as the power of attorney for their.
I just didn't see any dollars added in for it, because typically. You know.
I think that was probably in that mobilization.
Okay.
So.
Okay, as long as they have it included in their
Yep.
bid.
Yeah, they.
And they're not coming and asking for more.
No, we talked about all that stuff. Just
Okay.
That mobilization, that's up there. I mean,
Well, and I
don't know what all it
think,
includes, but
and see, that's the whole thing, is if they have the bid bond in there and all that stuff, you know, that adds, they've got to put that money in there somewhere. You could put it in mobilization all one time, you could spread it out across the bids, you know, so, but.
was it not for mobilization for both of them?
Two different locations.
Two different locations, yeah.
Each one was 23.5?
Yeah.
Well, the one was 23.5 and then the other one was, well, you did have both, okay.
23.5.
Yep.
So there's 56,000, 57,000.
Yeah, and that's, you know, and it's in the contracting industry, you put your money in different areas, whatever else, however you want to say, you could put it in unit cost items. Some people say that we run the unit cost straight across what it costs you, and then we put our labor and everything else in, you know, it's, and that was one of the things that they looked at too, said that they were acceptable to, you know, all the prices, so.
That's always been a real misnomer to me, that mobilization. Why don't they just put on their money in my pocket? Because
That's the formal term.
There is some mobilization, just to be
I
fair.
realize there is, but there's really, it's not broke down enough for you really to know.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, is this for me to drive my tractor, my bulldozer out to the side? You know, I know there's a lot involved, but it just, it seems like we're kind of left in the dark whenever we get mobilization.
Yeah.
And I know it's on every
Yeah.
And
construction.
it goes to mobilize, so I mean, so not everybody owns their own truck and trailer to haul their equipment out.
Sure.
But once they do, then they want to be compensated for that
Well,
truck and trailer.
And part of the issue, especially, I can tell you right now, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I didn't want to do it either, is working down in the Cottonwood River Basin can be just a crapshoot. Because I do know that me spent an awful lot of time just getting out of the ground over here on Luda Creek. A lot of that down here, and as a contractor, you look at it, you say, I need to make sure that I cover myself. You know, because that was the thing, is they have bigger hose than what I do. I could have went out and rented one or whatever else, but once you get down there to the bottom where you have to do, you've got to stay on it, because as soon as you start digging a hole, it fills up, and so, you know, I do know that there was a lot of that up there, so. But anyway, that's what the bid was for, so.
So actually, Marion County, how much time are we gonna spend on that, so?
Ours is pretty nice though, because we can actually deliver most of our stuff at our convenience. We can have it there ahead of time or whatever else. So it's just, I've got the figures down below. They actually wanted me to figure out what it would cost us to time and materials and stuff like that. So we have to submit all that as far as our plan of action too. So, and they were agreeable with that. So
So we're just hauling as is as the sideline says, we're hauling off and we're hauling in.
Yeah, we're hauling the rock in, we're getting the modular blocks, they're
Okay.
coming out of, Wellington, I believe it was. Trying to find those with something else too, so, they're, but anyway, so,
Really?
well, they're bigger than the ones that
Okay.
they get here. These
Okay.
here are 2 by 2 by 3. These actually call for 2.5 by 2.5 by 5. They look a lot like a Duplo Lego block, you
Yep.
know, but they're bigger. And I've worked with the NRCS enough, well, and they said we could use a smaller box, we'd have to double them up. So now we double up the amount of material, double up the labor, and, you know, I found the blocks.
Does this just start up for a base? Is that what it's?
It's a retaining wall. They're basically building a retaining wall next to the roadway. So, the plans are downstairs if you guys ever want to look at them. They're not overly excited, but, you know, like I said, one was like 5 pages, the other was 6 pages, but they were actually designed by the NRCS.
All right, being that it is below engineer estimate and the only bid that we received on time after it's been figured out,
Yep.
verified, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the bid from Nelson Fowles Construction at $83,450.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor? Aye. 5-0. All right, now let's go on to the other sealed bids for a salvage mower, which should also be at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Couldn't do both at the same time, so.
Well, I didn't have it on the agenda, but the ad said the deadline was 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So.
Dear, not my favorite thing.
Can I ask Bryce a question while you open
Yeah,
them?
yeah, you're fine. I'll open them all and then I'll pass them all down.
What do you know about the internet cables going across north of 77? They're starting to come into Marion now.
What do you, well, I guess what do you want to know? They do have permits doing it.
Who's gonna get on it? Can businesses get on it? Can it come off?
Tri-County Telephone is doing most of the work. Zayo also has some fiber lines that are coming down here. Who they've worked out with, I don't know. I do know that they were taking clear over to Hillsborough, and they've actually come, where did they come down? They come down on one of our roads to 190th.
They're in industrial park now in
Okay,
Marion.
okay. And I believe that is either through,
Okay.
they did that, I can't remember if that was from Windstream or it was somebody else.
It's the other company setting up for me.
Yeah, so, but we've got Zayo up on Remington too, so, but who they, I know nothing about it other than that, so.
I can't find out.
Yeah. I do know if you call Tri-County Telephone, they would probably be able to tell you as much as anything, but who the other ones are, I don't know. So, I do know that's a big push, so.
And nobody knows here at the table?
Do what? That, you mean that trenching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
If they're, who they're
They're the
hooking up
county,
with or
I
whatever.
mean, with this going by.
Isn't that all, that high-speed internet stuff
Yeah.
that Tri-County's putting in?
Well, it's Tri-County, like I
They
said.
were doing Hillsborough, but
Yeah. I
they're
don't
in the
know.
industrial park now, out here in Marion right now, digging trenches.
Well, I
Well,
do.
aren't they going to 77 or?
Well, I do know they've come off of the tower over here by the football field.
Mhm.
They come down, it went north, across the highway, through the industrial park, came south, across the highway by Dollar General and going through there. Now, where they're tying into there, I don't know either. But like I said, all we had was the permits for the work, so.
Yeah, they
We'll jump
came
back
under
on
the
that
highway, so.
in a minute. But I'm gonna go ahead and go forward here with
Yep.
this bids. All right, so I have a bid for 502. I have a bid for 813.13, and I have a bid for 650. I would make a motion to approve the 813.13. That would be Tom Holden. Didn't think the names were important until I got all the dollar figures out there. Being the highest bidder
To purchase this.
to purchase it.
It's just a flat out, as is bid.
Yeah, $813.13.
You get that, Randy?
Yeah, I will leave up the rest of the bidders' names to be contacted by the clerk if it needs to be any more.
Make a motion to accept the high bid for salvage value, $813.13.
Second. Second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can pass them down.
Oh, I see them. Sure.
When did I come up with 13 cents?
Did everyone vote? Was it a
Yeah.
5-0?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, did you think of anything else in the 15 or 20 minutes, whatever? So if not, get out of here and give me a call, so. All right, thanks.
I have a comment from Travis to Dave. Travis Parmley said that he was informed that it's high-speed internet and it would be available to the EMS building. So it must be going.
Out there.
Mhm.
That's what I was hoping, that we could hook on as it goes by. It's cheaper today than it will be next week.
And you don't have to pay, bringing it into you either. They'll usually
Yeah.
tie that into the contractor and get it right up to your premises.
I just want, everybody need to be aware of what's going on, I guess.
There was an issue brought up to me about easements on some of that, so hopefully that's all getting addressed.
I think this was a very wise thing to do, the bids like that.
Everybody has a chance.
Yeah, that's right, and it's fair. And
Cost
the
us how
county
much
makes
for the
out-
ad?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
$100 ad?
What the ad cost is, Dave was asking. Okay.
I don't have the answer to that right now. I'm sure we haven't been billed yet, and I didn't place the ad, so I didn't
Yeah.
see the proof or the cost.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything on that? All right, Isaac. All right. Let you take her away.
Brad here.
Brad can be on the phone.
Okay, I'm guessing he's probably going to want to be.
Okay.
We need that.
Yeah, he's.
Does it need to be executive?
It's gonna be executive.
I don't know. I'm asking.
No, that's fine.
I'm side seating this one a little bit. Been watching from the sidelines, but
I don't know. I don't know if it needs to be or not.
Okay.
I really don't.
I will get Brad on the phone.
Did you?
Is there any
did you
kind of
email
contract
from-
negotiations or
Yeah.
anything?
There is some contract negotiations,
Yeah.
so that's the reason why I'm asking, and I just don't know. Hello.
We might as well get it out. in
Okay,
public.
we got Isaac in the room. We're determining whether or not there needs to be any executive part of this.
Contract negotiations again, yes.
Okay. All right.
Said yes.
Yes.
All right. So we need contract negotiations with a consultation with the attorney-client privilege. All right. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss contract negotiations for item number 2, consultation with our attorney, for 15 minutes.
Should be more than enough. I think.
Okay. With the board, Isaac, Brad.
You got those sheets broken out, his plan.
Okay, pursuant to KSA 75-4319B.
You really shouldn't get that out yet.
Did you say 15 minutes?
I don't think I probably.
Okay.
Oh,
You don't get it out.
Yeah.
Second?
Second by Kent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, we'll be back at 10:30.
All right, I'm gonna move the phone a little closer, or middle of the road.
That's good. Camera's on.
Gotta go back in for another 5 or 10. Brad, better be cheap. Yeah.
Better clarify.
Right, Brad?
Yeah, in this case, because
Okay.
I need to get a good sense of where you want to go with this.
Okay, 1 second here.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. This time, need to move back into executive session in order to discuss consultation with the attorney, contract negotiation for 15 minutes with the board, Isaac, Brad, pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. I got a second?
Yes.
Second from Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, another 15 is going to put us at 10:45.
10:47.
Okay.
10:48, it just clicked, I believe. Hold on. Yep, we'll be back at 10:48, going in for another 15 minutes.
Thank you for your patience.
Cameras on.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. Thanks for all your work, Isaac. I just want to say that.
Yeah, Isaac, we had a constituent in that was, had brought up again about going ahead with putting in extra camping spots on the north side.
So I'm guessing the northeast corner.
Yeah.
This was something that Josh Enlow with the water district brought up to me. He came and talked to me, I think it was late July, maybe.
Yeah, you talked to us once about it.
Yeah, he was looking at possibly wanting, and I don't want to say this wrong because I'm not sure exactly how it works. They were looking at putting a water pump in somewhere down there on the northeast side, kind of not by the low water bridge, but in that area. And Josh Enlow pulled me over and talked to me, and he wanted me to go out and look at a couple of the new sites out at the reservoir, because I guess the reservoir put in some new campgrounds, super nice.
Yeah.
But he said if they put this water pump in there, that it would be really easy for us to get some fully finished campsites down there. He said with where the electricity is at, it would not be hard to run it over there. And if that pump was in there, he could get water to that for super cheap.
Wow.
And so it was something that, and like he said he's not ready for any of it now. He said possibly this fall he was going to come and talk to me and we could maybe look at some stuff. I haven't heard from Josh since then.
Okay.
But
you might check with him because
yeah, okay, yeah.
This individual made a good point. You know, before long we're going to have people coming and working on wind farms again
Yes.
and stuff, and a lot of those guys have RVs and
Right.
and you know, be extra revenue for the county if we had extra spots out there.
Yes, and that brings up another point, and I'm not sure what what can be done about it. But we had that, well, last year, there was a few guys that wanted to come out there and camp for that same purpose. The way that our spots are set up now, it's 2 weeks on, 1 week off. A lot of those guys want to come out for 3-4 months and pay possibly a monthly rent. I didn't know if there was anything that we could do with maybe a section of the campground or a row or 3 or 4 spots to allow for that. Because a lot of them, they don't want to have to come out, get everything set up and situated, and then 2 weeks later leave. And I think the reservoir, I don't know if the reservoir has monthly spots, but I know a lot of theirs was that same policy, except they have 2 weeks on, and then I think you have to leave for the rest of the month. Something like that.
I don't know. There's campers out at the reservoir that have been there so long.
So they might
they
might have a few monthly spots, but I guess that was kind of a big thing for me. And there was a few of them that still came out and spent 2 weeks and left. But that was a big question that they had is, why can't we just stay for 3 months while we get this job done and then leave?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's something we can do there, or if
a
there's
policy change.
some kind of restrictions on that. I wasn't sure. And I can look further into that, but that was another question that
We
kind of came
probably
up with
just
that
need,
wind farm.
we probably need a policy on it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but we can definitely do it, because I don't remember the exact procedure on how we did it, but Hillsborough had fairgrounds, the hookup spots.
Yeah.
And it was just a temporary basis for this project, this timeline. And when that was up, then it would revert back to the way it always was.
Gotcha, yeah.
You had to be tied to the construction
Yeah,
project.
so the exemption was for
Okay.
one piece
Uh-huh.
for a longer period of time.
Okay.
And I'd never heard any blowback on it. so-
Okay, I think it would possibly be beneficial to do for those guys if that's something that we can look into, yeah.
But you know, if it's beneficial and it raises money for the county,
Yeah.
then why would we wanna limit it to just that?
Well-
And why would we want it to go back? Why would we not
Because
wanna
we
have that
don't want-
open to
we
other
don't
people
people
at
moving
certain
it.
times as well?
Well, it's
I mean, if you make it for 3 months or 6 months.
and that's, and I know where you're going with that, and that's fine, it's just, there is an end date set for these guys. There is an
Well,
end
I
date.
got that,
You
but-
don't want to open it up and then have somebody with no real end date and just camps there for the rest of their
But
life.
if you say instead of 2 weeks, if you say 3 months, I mean, that's still not just singling a certain group out, you know?
Let's see what Hillsborough said.
Yeah, well,
Review that.
yeah, no, I'm sure our legal counsel can guide us in the right direction. It should be a walk in the park for him on this one.
Because,
Okay.
you know, conceivably, if you all of a sudden you had some wind farm people, they may say they want it 5 or 6 months, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it could be up to a year.
Yeah.
I mean, but you do know they're not planning on staying.
Not turning into a full.
They're gonna go to the next one.
Right, right.
And then do you give your choice spots out in this situation or not? And that's
Yeah, it's gotta be well thought out.
Yeah, that's-
And it's gotta
yeah.
be fair, because you know out there is, people take that seriously.
Yeah.
They don't care,
Oh,
they just want a place to hook up.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we ran into the last time, is they really weren't
Yeah, your
picky about
your
where they were
least
staying.
desirable
Yeah,
spots.
right.
They really don't care.
And that's kind of probably what I would try to push for.
They want sewer and
Yeah.
water.
When you say northeast, are you just talking across the first bay there? Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about clear at the other end of the lake?
It's clear on the other end of the lake, like kind of down by the low water
It's-
bridge there.
It's the farthest campground from the lake house.
Well, with the Boy Scouts camp all the time?
Pretty much right there by where the Boy Scouts, up a little bit from where the Boy Scouts
Where the geese
camp,
hang
but
out.
yeah.
There's always lots of birds there.
Yeah, that's the spot. And yeah, you know, we talked to.
Don't be messing with your sister.
Don't mess with her.
All right. So, anybody else have anything for Isaac or?
No, thanks, Isaac.
Thanks, Isaac.
Yep.
Good job.
And yeah, we'll stay on it and keep you up to date.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
Just whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll move recess into executive session in order to discuss item number 2, attorney-client privilege, contract negotiation, pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B with the commission, Brad and Tina, until 11:10. We resume in the open session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, we'll be back at 11:10.
Diane's got a question
I have
for
a
you.
question.
But we're gonna wait till the meeting's back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the public.
Okay. We'll be in open session. You can key in.
All right.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. This time, there was a question by a commissioner that wanted to ask it in open session, and it wasn't part of contract negotiation, so.
Right, no. Brad, my question to you is the pilot agreement that we received last year, I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, it was $269,000, and we have not tapped into any of that money yet, as far as I know, because we've been waiting, if I remember correctly, as a directive from you, if there's any stipulations or any restrictions as to how we spend it. As I read back through that particular pilot agreement, there was no restrictions, it was just to the county, but I'm thinking, I know we could use some of that money in various places, and I'm just wondering, have you had a chance to look at it, or is there any need to?
Yeah, I don't know that I didn't find anything that indicated a restriction. Some of them do that, and that's what we were discussing at that time. But I did not, as I went back through all that documentation, I don't know that I can't recall it. I ever asked Pat to be sure if he recalled anything when that was originally negotiated, but I looked at the final agreement that was approved.
Yes.
And I don't see anything there that restricts, if you will, those funds. They are oftentimes, since they're a payment in lieu, like if a nursing home does one because they're a not-for-profit, then you normally attribute those dollars or apply them to your ambulance service, your emergency medical, that kind of thing. In this instance, arguably, I suppose someone could say, well, those should be used for road maintenance, but we have a separate road maintenance agreement. And it appears that they're going to pay what they owe on that. So then I was looking for anything else in there that would indicate, is it something you're supposed to use for drainage? Is it anything you're supposed to use for infrastructure only? But I don't see anything like that. It was just it's basically just a payment in lieu of taxes, since they're a non-taxable entity, but they are certainly operating a reasonably profitable enterprise in Marion County.
So, yeah, go ahead.
The question then is whether the statute that governs that would require the county to distribute any portion of that to any other taxing entities.
Again, nothing in there that indicates that. And again, the agreement was directly with the county. I think it could be something that the commission could choose to do. Certainly, you're not prohibited from doing it. It's not like bond payments, for example, where they have to be segregated, held, and used for this specific purpose, and you have an overage remaining in the account. You can't just directly pay it out for something else. But I don't know of anything right now, and if that's a good question, I don't think I ever researched that correctly. I don't know of anything, though, at first blush that would indicate you have to distribute that to the other taxing entities.
As far as decommissioning goes, I just want to ask about that. Is somebody carrying an insurance or an escrow account for that in the event if it happened to happen? The county is?
Well, then, up north.
We have an escrow.
Up north.
Well, then some of that payment in lieu of taxes probably needs to be utilized for the
people
insurance.
Right on just tear down.
Say
The landowner.
everything goes south, and this is not the direction that things go. Who pays to take those towers down?
Oh.
So
well,
this is where some of this payment in lieu of taxes should probably be paying for some sort of self-insurance at least.
I think that's different, isn't it, Brad? Because we do have a decommissioning agreement up
Yes,
there.
we have a separate agreement for decommissioning.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
For the product, for the program
See
up
it
north?
now,
Right,
is
yeah,
a,
we have
Yeah.
the decommissioning agreement.
some kind of performance bond that they typically hold, or a letter of credit for that purpose. But again, you have to remember that's 40 years down the road.
Yeah.
So they try never to put those in these agreements because it
Yeah,
costs
it's a
them
long
money
way down the road.
all the time.
Well,
I would question whether they're gonna do it 40 years down the road, but
Well, if-
we do have it.
if you question it, then maybe we should be
I will.
making sure we don't spend the money unwisely.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you one final question. I was reading something into pilot agreements, Brad, and as we spend some of this money, or if we do spend it, am I correct in my reading that, for example, let's just pick any department, I don't care, road and bridge, okay? I'm thinking that we can't do this, that we can't say, okay, well, we're gonna take $100,000 from the pilot, put it road and bridge, and then take our own tax dollars out of that budget to save the county money. I don't think we can do that, am I correct? The pilot is above and beyond, am I right?
Say your budget is set, that we might want to double check with our accountant as well, but I agree with that. I think that normally is an overage. It's not, it all comes out in the wash at the end.
Right.
Because your demand for dollars goes down with the application of those funds, but a direct, okay, we're going to go ahead and pull that from there as it's allocated and use this instead. No, I think that's a problem.
Okay, thank you. I just want to confirm that. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Okay. Anybody else got anything else for Brad?
One final question. The money that is paid on the road maintenance agreement up there, am I also correct, Brad, that that money has got to go up north? It cannot be spent anyplace else, am I right?
That's in theory how it's supposed to be. It wasn't worded, if they're LP candid, so that it absolutely, it's worded that way in the new one. It wasn't worded that way in the old one. And I think that's just makes sense in that those dollars are specifically allocated based upon our consultant's evaluation when they did the exit on this thing and the final audit. And all of this is to go to put in this culvert or to stabilize this particular ditch or to improve this turning radius or to deal with this drainage. And so all of those dollars were created specifically identifying them for a project there. We may not need all of them, and quite frankly, in some cases where this becomes a little bit of a long-winded explanation, is we've already spent general tax dollars, out of the overall budget
To maintain it.
fix some things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think in that instance, if we took $35,000 to fix something over in Logan Township, that was really, we were going to do something on the southern end of Marion County. I think that we could make the argument that's going to be defensible that we replace what's already been used, but that's a completely different evaluation than, okay, you pay us this money and we're supposed to use that for the improvement of these things. And having said all of that, I think it's fairly likely, those dollars were calculated on the basis of certain rates and certain ways of doing things. We may be able to save some money by having that done in-house as opposed to a contractor. And then you have an overage. Then what do you do? Well, I think in that instance, you can either hold those money because sooner or later you're going to spend them out there.
But that's
or
easy.
You can perhaps split those back.
That's easy calculated, right? I mean, the clerk can go back and look and see that we spent X amount of dollars, and so then when we get to spend it, we say this amount of dollars goes for reimbursement to the county.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the county engineer can do that as well, because as he goes through his projects, he knows what he spent, and they allocate. So that is a number we can derive.
Okay. All right, is there any other questions for Brad? All right, thank you, Brad.
Thanks.
You bet. Talk to you later.
Okay, that brings us into, we did the exec session already. If I'm not mistaken, we're at public comments. I don't see anybody. Don't see anybody from the public come back in. Oh, wow. Okay, all right. I'm going to close public comments, move on to commission comments.
I'd like to see Mr. Frank put on an agenda for next Monday. I don't know what date that is. 7th, I believe. 7th, I believe. To answer to his, either be in person in an executive session, or if he wants to do it in public, I guess that's him, personnel, but to explain his actions.
Okay. I don't have any.
So I have two little things. Number one, I was kind of surprised last week when it was announced that Dee Dugan died in our commission meeting. She did not die at that time. She didn't die till that evening. when I left here, I called my sister-in-law because she's very good, close to her, and I said, oh my God, I just learned you died. And of course she said, no, she didn't. So I'm glad I didn't go say that to anybody else. And also, she did not die from COVID. And that was also published in the paper. She did die from pneumonia, but she died later that evening. So that was kind of a bad deal because, you know, I know a lot of people up in my area that know her, so I'm glad I called you, or otherwise I would have spread more false information. And then the last thing I'd like to ask the commission is, on the voting machines, as we know, this is a big thing. And I noticed on the internet, there's a lot of those Dominion machines throughout throughout Kansas, and in this area, like Wichita and things like that. And the ESS machines and stuff I've seen, they actually have pictures of machines that look very similar to our machine. And it's like it is the ESS 450 and other models and stuff. And I really think that we should really check our machine just to be sure and on the safe side. Because if you look at the map where they have those machines, it is around us. And so I'm not, you know, I just think we need to, you know, end any suspicion and actually check the model number. I'd also like to see like the handbook, because in the handbook it should say some things about the operation of the machines. So I just think I'd like to have some of that information provided to us, just so that we can clear the
We don't have
air.
any Dominion machines.
It's not the machine
And it's not the
necessarily.
machine, it's the software.
It's the software,
Yeah,
that's
software.
right. But these are the machines that they're saying that they know
So,
that it's in.
all of the equipment in Kansas has to go through a rigorous certification through the Secretary of State's office. If you have questions about any equipment, or any of those processes, you might want to check with them, because no vendor can sell any election equipment in the state of Kansas without going through those strict certifications through the state level. And I don't know exactly what information that you're asking for.
I want to make sure that our machines do not have those provisions for multiplying votes. I want to see
Provisions for
and I will tell you,
multiplying
I have seen on the maps, they're throughout Kansas,
Okay.
those Dominion
What-
machines,
No.
or the
Well,
program.
Dominion is an approved vendor for Kansas
Okay, yes.
Elections, and they have done their certification,
I
so.
understand that, but we now know what they're capable of doing. And so I just think
I
I
don't
need
know
to,
what you mean,
I'd
but
like
that's
to know,
okay.
and I've had several people ask me
Sure.
if we can, you know, kind of make sure that we publicly know what we actually have.
I agree. Everybody needs to have faith in the election
Sure.
system.
What
But
specific information?
I think we need to, yes, I believe in checks and balances, but I don't believe that anything that was done in Marion County would swing the vote any
I'm
which way.
not saying that, I'm saying to verify the machines
Right.
and to see if we have any reason for concern. And I'll also tell you one other thing that I did learn as I'm watching all this developing with the different states. It seems as though the states and the counties that resist wanting to be transparent about it are usually the ones that have the problem. So I just think we should be open and honest with it, and we should, I'm just asking to see some of the software that we have, and if I have to do it through the Secretary of State,
Okay,
I'll
I guess
have to do that.
I don't know
Right.
what you're asking for.
We did do an
Okay.
audit, right, on a certain
Yes,
township.
yes,
Yeah,
we did an
so-
audit, but it's not that. I mean, I'm willing to share whatever information doesn't risk security, but I don't know what exactly you want.
I don't
So-
think the voting machines fall under security.
Really?
Some of
Yes,
the-
they do.
Yeah, they
Yes,
do.
they do.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
showing what time we have and things like that,
Well,
no. But I'll go through the Secretary of State if that's what you're.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to find out what information you would like.
I would like to know exactly what kind of package or programming and stuff that we have in the machine and what model machine we have. And I do know on the machines, I remember when they were set up here and stuff, you do have a book that shows you some of the features of the machine,
So you want the models,
yes? And maybe the serial number of the machine, yeah.
The programming.
And then, and I don't know if you have information to the program that's in there, the package that's in there, but if you do, I would like
She
that
does.
information as well, yes.
Wow. You're asking for a lot of reading material.
Or not.
I mean, there's gonna be a new update by the time the next election comes around too, trust me. Don't they update?
Well, yeah, we gotta pay that fee all the time whenever before every election, right, to update everything and.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
every election is programmed separately, so, we don't do any of that in-house.
Tina,
No, I
are
don't doubt
counties-
for a minute that you don't.
Are counties required to have a certain amount of number of machines, or could they just
No.
opt out and say, we're doing paper ballots?
No.
Well,
Oh my
we
goodness. So let me explain. The DS200s, which are the touchscreen devices that you see in the voting locations, they do not store any information. They are not connected to the internet. All they do is mark someone's ballot.
Yeah.
So those,
Right.
so basically you put in a blank piece of paper, you
Yeah, I
make your
know they
selections,
print it on
you
it.
print it off, and you look at it, and what's on the paper is what you voted for. And if it's not, they are supposed to ask for a new one because there must have been a mistake. But that ballot is not cast until it's put in the can. It is a paper ballot marked with a touchscreen device. It's basically a big pencil printer.
Well,
That's all it is. It doesn't store anything in there about the voter. It stores nothing.
No.
It's
And I'm talking
just,
about the counting machine.
okay.
The counting
So,
machine. I understand the touch tone, and I understand that's not hooked to the internet. But
Okay.
I'm talking about the counting machine.
Sure.
That we have. That's the one that I'm focused on.
okay, so we have two different scanners. We have the DS450, which I have in your
Yeah.
report,
Mhm.
the types of equipment that we use in the election canvas report.
Canvas.
We have a DS450, which scans. We do also have this year, that DS200, which is the one that looks like a trash can. That's basically a precinct scanner. So you could have those at every polling place, but we don't. We just have one, and we utilize that only for the mail-in ballots this year. So those are the two counters that we have.
Okay, so those are the only ones I'm focusing on. Those touch
Okay,
screens.
so
I
you
fully
want
understand that.
just the model, what the software version is, and an operating manual.
Yes.
And I will
Yes.
double check to verify that if any of that needs to be redacted because of just security, but whatever is open, I will gladly provide.
Is any of that hooked to computer while this is going on? It's not, is it?
It's all
No.
self,
That's what I say, it's all.
No, no,
there's no outside interference that can happen with them.
no.
Well, they say, even those, I think they say, is that hooked up to the internet? I'll let you, they say that, but you know, it's turned out in this election that in fact they are. I'm not saying that yours is, I'm talking about on the broad.
Depends on
scale.
which news station you listen to.
Yeah.
That's right.
It is
If you
not
listen
connected to the
CNN and
internet.
stuff, you're
It
not gonna know the
basically,
facts.
what it does,
Yeah.
it reads the paper ballots and counts the votes. And it's tested multiple times before election day.
Well, like I said, with every-
Including a public test where people can come in and watch. Nobody does, but they are
Well-
welcome to.
I stepped
Okay,
in
that's
through
a
the door.
different
I didn't see
During a
anything.
public test?
I didn't see anything wrong from what I could see right
Oh,
there.
on the
so-
election day?
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of steps that we have to go through. And so
Well-
what I'm saying to you is I will be glad to provide the information if you know what I can. And if you have additional questions about the process on how they're verified to be secure, the Secretary of State's office would be very good to contact about those processes, because
Okay.
there's a lot that happens at their level before we even get the.
So I will get those informations on that machine and then also the manual to it, am I correct? So I can do
Once
it in
I
an
verify
executive
that
session or whatever.
if there's anything that I cannot release
I,
because of security, but.
I've learned an awful lot about those machines, and there's buttons that you can push and stuff, like a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 or whatever. I'm just saying that some of those programs and stuff have that ability, which is what's coming out as factual. So I'm just saying that it's worth looking at.
And I will
Sure.
say, this election, I know that there was some need for poll workers. So anybody that has any disbelief or any distrust, yeah, come help out. Come help out.
Yeah.
Because we can use any help that they can get. And I've got full faith in Tina and how serious she takes this.
I am not.
I know.
This
I
is
know. I
not a
just wanna make
personal
sure that
thing.
we
This
don't-
is just transparency.
I want to make sure that we don't cast doubt. I believe that in Marion County, everything was done as perfect as can be.
But
So-
we'll just be transparent and we'll verify that. We'll be
As far as the equipment, we'll be as transparent as we can, without giving anyone the ability to, try to break into it or to compromise it, because
Right.
there is a security issue around elections, obviously.
But if it's not hooked to the internet, then, okay, never mind, we'll leave it alone. Okay, so
that's-
I'll look forward to getting that information that you're willing to provide, and that'll be it.
Okay, ready to
Back
move on then? Any other
Gotcha.
commissioner comments? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Ken, second by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is this, Gina, was this sent here from me, from Susan?
Yes, and we
Okay.
did scan that in. I have that available electronically for any commissioners that would
Okay.
like to have it, but it was too large to email, so.
Yeah, I had called and asked her for it. I didn't know she was gonna put it here, so yeah.
This is all the properties that's coming up on the second sale.
Yeah, I had called and asked her to do that.
Coming up on the what?
Second tax sale, December
Yeah.
3rd.